Barbie and the Magic of the Pegasus, released in 2005. This is a game about Barbie flying a magical horse. The chances of this going to be bad or unintentionally funny is pretty high. But so far my experience with Barbie fantasy games haven't actually been too bad, so maybe this one will be okay. It starts with Barbie swooping down toward a castle on her flying horse. The horse has no saddle, and she has a little bear stuffed in her backpack, and Barbie is sitting in a position known as side saddle. You enter the castle and are treated to a 1 minute and 50-second cutscene. In this cutscene, we are told the plot, are introduced to 5 characters, and have 3 other characters mentioned, all crammed into 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Wenlock is up to his old tricks again. He's turned Annika's parents to stone, and if she doesn't marry him, he'll never turn them back.
Oh yeah, Barbie is named Annika, her horse is named Brietta, and the bear is called Shiver. Just an interesting note, Barbie was riding side saddle. If you look at the history of where side saddle riding came from, it disturbingly works into this marriage plotline. Either the writers of this game really knew their stuff, or they just couldn't pose the Barbie 3D model to sit on the horse properly. So to unstone her parents, Annika must find the pieces of the Wand of Light scattered throughout the land. But there is a twist to the story.
You see, Annika, Brietta is your sister. In fact, the very same thing happened to her. Only when she told Wenlock she wouldn't marry him, he changed her into, well, this.
Yes, this thing. So you start off running around in this tiny little castle looking for a pair of ice skates for some reason, and Shiver the Bear went hiding somewhere, so you gotta play hide and seek and look for him behind various objects.
Ice skates! Shiver knows, follow Shiver!
That voice, it's slightly annoying. It's almost like... Ah, great. So you head off into the courtyard, and the first thing you do is you go to the stables, where I keep my sister. You can brush your sister, and feed your sister hay and sticks. And this kind of made me ask, how long has my sister actually been a horse? She seems fairly accustomed to the horse lifestyle. Can't imagine her wanting to be brushed or eating hay if it's only been a few weeks. I don't think they really answered that. But brushing and feeding her really doesn't affect anything, so this is kind of pointless. They could have kind of made a horse racing simulator here or something, but they chose not to. Before the main quest, you have to go through some forced tutorials, which I really didn't like, but so be it. You learn the basics like how to ride your sister, how to jump, and a bit of a freestyling ice skating where you perform various skating poses and tricks. And I did like the skating bit, a little relaxing, just really nice, just cruise around and skate. It's nice. And then finally you start your adventure for the Wand of Light. I figured since the game seems to have a selling point of flying the horse, this was going to be the funnest part of the game. You know, free flying in all directions, landing any place I choose. But no. You're put on this constantly moving forward rail. You can move slightly left and right off these rails to collect charms, but that's it. You can't move up and down or go anywhere else. It's a really big disappointment. A younger player would have had so much fun with this if they were able to fly anywhere they want. It's just a really bad choice they made there. And there's no obstacles or anything to stop you along the way, so it's just kind of pointless. Next, Barbie runs around in a small maze-like forest. Now, maze games are fine, but the path to get to the maze is revealed by our little bear friend Shiver, which takes any challenge out of it whatsoever. This is when I realized the game is, aiming at a really, really young audience. It doesn't want you to get frustrated or even lose for that matter. And in this case, you know what? I guess I'm okay with that. I mean, it's a Barbie game, it's not Dark Souls. Be kind of interesting though if there was a Dark Souls Barbie game. Barbie then arrives in a village and has to pick a lock. To do so, she plays a matching game, of course. Now this matching game does have pictures similar to each other and has some layers like a Shanghai Mahjong style game. So it's not quite a run-of-the-mill match game, it's a little more detailed. So, you know what, good work there. They actually got it right, kinda. It's still a matching game though. The next area, you meet this pretty creepy old man. He says he'll give you a map if you could pull the map off the shelf without knocking over any items. So you guide the map to the exit and try not to hit the sides, basically. Now the last game I covered, Pet Sports by Ubisoft, had the same style game. But I really didn't enjoy that one. So why did I enjoy this one? Well, putting all this context before the game made it more interesting. The graphics represent what's going on pretty well instead of this weird representation of dog training. And most importantly, I said in the last video, it's an alright game for about 2 minutes. And then you're bored. You play it once in the Barbie game, not 50 times like in that one. That's the difference. So you see, Ubisoft, you can actually learn a thing from Vivendi. You know, maybe you should buy that company. Or maybe they should buy you. You get the map and then you run on a fairly straight path and jump over some stumps. Okay? You move on to a matching game where Shiver steps on a shape and you step on the matching shape to move. It's a more simplistic matching game than the last one, but it does have a nice presentation. I really like how the minigames really blend into the story like they actually belong there. It's really well done. We then find Barbie at the residence of a giant. You play kind of a puzzle game to get into the giant's home by repairing the steps, and again blended in really nicely with the story. Barbie is then running around on a giant kitchen table maze, which I like. There's always something appealing about miniature form games for some reason, kind of like Micro Machines. The giant is asleep, but if you go the wrong way, you'll run into some pepper, which makes Shiver sneeze and wake the giant. If you do, you'll have to start over if this happens. Now, while you're doing this level, there's this sound loop of the giant snoring, which just plays constantly. And it is one of the grossest sounds I've ever heard. I had to turn the sound down while I was playing. I was starting to gag. Things started to repeat after this. There was more on-rails flying, a different shaped version of an earlier match game, a Follow the Shiver game again, and another jigsaw puzzle-style game. Even though repetitive, it didn't feel as bad because they did change the theme to look like the level. And it did throw in a few different games and variations. Here, Barbie needs to move at the right time to get across these platforms on a frozen river, a puzzle/matching game where you put a shape in the right place, and another don't touch the side game, but with a scrolling level. Now, I've been skipping over the story quite a bit, but at this point you pretty much have all the parts for the Wand of Light. You play a campfire wood gathering mini game, then you run around catching light rays to fill your wand with power. Then you're off to the final battle with the evil Wedlock. You're back on the Pegasus rail riding, and wow! Enemies! Tossing whirlwinds at you to hinder your progress. Why on earth didn't they do this at the beginning? It would have been so much more funner. You then skate down a mountain. And yes, there is one skating level, and it's about 1 minute long. They had an entire area at the beginning of the game to train you to ice skate for a 1 minute level that appears once. Yeah, Ubisoft, you may want to resist that takeover, actually. You run into a few more repeat minigames, but again, the graphical change do help a little. Then finally, a boss battle with the evil Wenlock, where it's just you, him, and the Wand of Light. So overall, Barbie and the Magic of the Pegasus is not a very challenging game, and there's no fail state, so you can't actually lose. Just have your progress hindered. But this game is not meant to be difficult. It's aimed at young kids, and they mainly want them to enjoy the adventure. Voice acting and animations aren't too good either, but they're not so bad that you can't tolerate them. It's got a lot of mini-games all blended in really well with the world, helping you stay immersed in the Barbie horsey universe. And they even did the matching games in this one kinda decent, which is a rare treat for me. The story itself isn't really that good and not fleshed out too well. However, if there is anything about this game worth noting, it's the message the story gives. It's a story of good triumphing over evil, about loving your family, beating the odds, and believing in yourself. It's just a really good feeling this game gives you for some reason. I mean, what can I say? That's really nice to see in a game. So yeah, this game has flaws and some mediocre mini-games, and certainly gives pretty much nothing in the way of challenge. But it's a feel-good game with a positive message, and that might leave you with a bit of a smile. And for some people, maybe that's good enough. Thanks for watching.